Have you ever wondered how successful people turn their daydreams into reality? That's exactly what we're talking about today. Stay tuned, you might be inspired. By Buck Helton.
This is Russ on the radio. My name is Russ Stevenson. Welcome to KNST AM 790, Tucson, Arizona. It's my great pleasure to introduce my co host to the Russ on the radio show, Anita Wagoner. Hello, Anita. Are you there?
Hello, Russ. I'm here. Happy to be here.
Buck. Welcome to you, Buck.
Well, I am plumb tickled to be here. I don't think I could be any more tickled unless I swallowed a feather duster.
Well, I got that. You were a great pre-interview yesterday. Boy, I had such a good old time with you, Buck. And we're going to go right into it. So, tell us about your musical family starting in Dallas, and we're going to go right into it.
And say, well, I was born at a very early age. I don't remember much about it, being pretty young then. But according to my mom, who coincidentally happened to be there at the time, it was February of 1966 in Baylor Hospital in Dallas, Texas, and I was born into a loving family of professional entertainers. And say we, all of us were all pickers and singers. And in point of fact, until I was 5 years old, I thought things like gas stations and grocery stores and such were folks' hobbies. That's what they did when they wasn't out making music.
I got it. I got and Baylor is such a good hospital too. That's a great hospital. Okay. Uh, uh, so you you had an uncle. Who was it? Uncle Nat?
And say, yeah, technically, actually, Nat is my great uncle.
Great uncle.
Say, yeah, she's my maternal grandmother's brother. And I told you, we were born into a family of entertainers. I come by it honest. Say back in the early 30s, uh, say well early to mid 30s. My maternal grandmother and great aunt and great uncles used to sing on the radio out in California, where they was living at the time. And they got to be real good friends with a bunch called the Pioneer Trio. Bob Nolan, Tim Spencer, and some goomer from Ohio named Leonard Sly. Say most no nobody hardly ever remembers the Pioneer Trio, but they got a lot more famous after they changed their name to the Sons of the Pioneers.
Oh, everyone knows that name.
Yep, and say Roy Rogers, which is what Leonard called himself after a while. When they first put him in the movies, they called him Dick West, and he was a bad guy. The problem is he wasn't believable. He was actually one of the bad guys in one of Gene Autry's early westerns. But he taught my uncle Nat how to yodel, and Nat taught me.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. So you it's did I read this wrong that you released 14 albums?
Say no, that's correct. Most of them are out of print now. Remember, I've been throwing out albums for the last close to 30 years now. Thing. I've got four that are currently available, three of which you can get off my website.
Okay, that's
What's
where
that?
we're going to get them.
What's that website?
What's
Say, well, it's real hard to remember now. It's buckhelton.com.
There you go.
and you told me about Tales from the BO Ranch.
Say yes, indeed. Tales from the BO Ranch is my award-winning Western humor anthology. They was put out in 2012, and it took the 2013 Will Rogers Silver Medal for Western Humor.
Oh, I mean, that's big time.
I was, I was plumb tickled, especially since I never actually intended the book to be for anybody but me.
Oh,
It's kind of interesting. I had, if you get the book, the backwards end of it will tell you the whole thing about how it came about. And long story short, I had gone through a terrible breakup, and my intended called off our wedding
Oh,
by
no.
by text message, nonetheless. 2 weeks before we were supposed to get married. And
oh
then the
boy.
day after we were supposed to get married, she married, not met, married a rich rancher from out in West Texas.
Oh, my goodness. What a story.
Yeah. And one of the worstest things that has ever happened to me was for weeks, I lost the ability to laugh.
Oh, I imagine.
Let's
Oh,
see. Well, when that finally broke loose, uh, say I started writing down all the funny things that had gone on in my life. Say either with just me or friends and family. And
mhm.
I figured if anything like this ever happens again, I can look at this and remember. It's like, well, there are still funny things in the world. And I happened to be up in Nebraska not too long after that doing a festival with George Hamilton the Fourth, along with some other folks. And a friend of mine who was an author happened to be there, and she had a fellow with her that I'd never met before, and I got to talking to her about it. Well, turns out that fellow she had with her was the publisher of In Cahoots.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So all of a sudden, even though I've only got about 5 or 6 stories written down, I've got a book deal.
Oh,
Wow, that was lucky.
wow.
And
In,
Okay.
you did have a story to tell, it sounds like.
in
Okay.
cahoots.
Yeah, In Cahoots. They've put out a whole bunch of different books and such, and Michael Allen is the fellow that runs it, and you can look him up on Facebook.
Hmm,
Uh-huh.
And
interesting.
he's my publisher as well as for several others,
Really?
and the book has enjoyed uh, great success in what I intended it to do, which is to just remind folks that no matter how rotten things are, you can always find something to laugh at.
Wow, what a piece of information that is so important.
That's so true in life, isn't it? Every corner you go around, there's a reason to laugh. A lot of reasons to maybe not laugh lately too, but that's great. That's an inspiration.
And say,
Right.
absolutely. I always tell folks it's like, look, you can always laugh at yourself, and if you can't, call me and I'll laugh at you.
I love that. I gotta get, I gotta get those humor books. I gotta throw some humor into my interview.
And say, yeah, well, I tell you what, let me say, as I tell folks in the book, uh, say, the like most Texans, I've never been one to let cold hard facts get in the way of a good story. Okay, but
That's
if
good.
if you know my family, you'll understand how all of these things pretty much have a basis in truth. And the crazier the story is, the more likely it was to happen exactly as written.
I love that. I
Say,
love that.
yeah, real quick, say one of the characters in my book is named Cousin Bubba. Say, and
There's
Bubba is a real person, but kind of like Jerry Clower's friend Marcel Ledbetter, he's more than one person. He's about 80% of my real flesh and blood cousin, with some other folks I know added in.
sounds
Okay.
like it sounds like an interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And
you're in Tucson, I'm correct, right?
Say yes, sir.
Uh,
I'm
uh,
I'm over here just off Ina and Oracle, and They been here for about 10 years now.
Do you do stand up in Tucson?
Well, mostly I sit down.
Mostly, but you can you do your shtick standing up? I guess that's true.
Say, well, let's see. Yeah, just don't ask me to do it too long. About half of me is artificial.
Oh, God.
Yeah, say most of my left shoulder, both knees, and 17 inches of spine is either replaced by or held together with titanium.
Does that any of that have to do with being a cowboy, or how did that happen?
Well, part of it, yes. Say, part of it was motorcycle accidents, car accidents.
No.
Some of it was Sherman's disease, which is a spinal birth defect.
No.
And yeah, some of it was from cowboying from a living when I was younger. And unfortunately, you find out that you think you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and then things get older, and enjoy them 20s and 30s, because by the time you hit the 40s, that check engine light's gonna come on.
Yeah, boy, you got some winning statements in your lingo, I'll tell you. You really do. Tell us more about your I know you sing slash songwriter. Which was harder for you, singing or songwriting?
Well, considering I've been singing since before I could talk, and I didn't write my first song until I was in my late teens, I would say probably songwriting was a little more challenging.
It was.
Say I've been singing professionally since I was 5. And started on Romper Room later that same year.
Oh yeah,
and just never bothered to shut up.
So were you a singer on Romper Room?
And say no. I offered, but since I was the only one of the kids that could carry a tune, they didn't figure that would look too hot.
Yeah, and tell us and the audience about the Romper Room TV. You told me some more about Romper Room and how that.
Let's say, yeah. See, a lot of folks have real fond memories of Romper Room, but people get into arguments, because they think, no, the hostess wasn't Miss Susie, it was Miss Cheyenne or Miss Velma or Miss whoever. And what people don't realize was Romper Room, like Bozo the Clown, was a nationally produced local kids show. The cartoons and some of the segments were the same in every market, but every market also had its own Bozo or Romper Room hostess. And in Dallas, it was a pretty little auburn-haired lass named Miss Vicky, who I had a terrible crush on.
Oh, wow.
At age 5, your first
At
love
age
was
5.
Miss Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
This is, and what years was wrong? I mean, I remember watching it, but
Romper Room actually went all the way, it existed in some form all the way up into the mid 1980s.
Well, as a 7th generation Texan, do your family still live in Texas?
I still have kin folks down there. As I say, my roots go all the way back to the founding of the Republic, when my great granddaddy William Barry Smith fought alongside Houston at San Jacinto. We whooped up on Santa Ana.
My goodness, you are a Texan.
Whooped up on Santa Ana. Yeah, that's quite the that's quite the deal for sure. So I know that you believe in the Western belief about life. Can you tell us more about that? The Western focus about career.
Absolutely. Dallas is a miserable place to grow up as a cowboy unless you're the football playing kind.
Yeah.
Okay. But unfortunately, even back 50 years ago, Dallas was a southwestern city with a northeastern mentality. Dallas wanted to be New York, and sadly, it's succeeding.
Yeah.
So I escaped to Fort Worth in civilized environs as often as I could. Okay.
Fort Worth, that's a wonderful place. I love Fort Worth. Those
yeah,
longhorns running down the street. Yeah.
that's right. Fort Worth is to this very day, and those Longhorns were bought from the King Ranch.
Okay, I know that. The King Ranch, big one.
And they still shut down Main Street twice a day for the cattle drive.
Yeah, I've been there for that. That's great. That was a lot of fun. Shows the real cowboy spirit there in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yep, but I was raised in this lifestyle. My granddaddy was a frustrated cowboy. He worked in the oil industry for quite some time, and then for fun, Core Laboratories owner, a fellow named John Weisenbaker, had a couple of ranches. Well, more than two, but two within reasonable driving distance from Dallas. One was in Mineola, and the other's in Glen Rose. Okay, and would go out there as often as he could. And of course, I started going with him. In fact, I made the money for my first car cowboying on the BO Ranch out in Glen Rose.
Wow.
Wow,
So,
that is interesting. How did you have a fan base? What kind of songs were you singing?
Well, even from the start, because as I say, I grew up with the music of Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, Rex Allen, Eddie Arnold, Marty Robbins.
Yeah.
The very first thing I did professionally was at a bluegrass show, and did Home on the Range with a bluegrass band behind me, and I've kind of been mixing up both things ever since.
Oh, really, really good. Are any of those groups still around? I mean, I don't. Is it
Yes,
hard?
in fact, I was I'm friends with the Sons of the Pioneers, and unfortunately, a couple of my dear friends like Bob Boatwright have gone on to the big ranch in the sky. He was a casualty of COVID.
Oh,
but I've known these guys forever, and I was with them in Oro Valley, just north of Tucson a few months ago.
do you perform all over the state of Arizona, or do you stick, primarily down in the Tucson area?
As general rule, I don't go too far afield that often because every Thursday night I'm singing around the campfire at the White Stallion here in Tucson. It's one of America's oldest dude ranches. It's 124 years old.
Well, I've yet to visit that place. I can't wait.
What's that called again?
The White Stallion Dude Ranch.
The White Stallion Ranch. Yep.
Ranch.
White Stallion.
In Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right in the heart of Tucson or out in the?
No, it's back right up against the Tucson Mountains.
All right, sounds like a fun place. I was in Oklahoma for several years, and I had a Western guest ranch there around a little town called Freedom, Oklahoma. So we had a lot of city slickers come and ride our ponies and play cowboy. It was fun.
I'd say absolutely. And people sometimes look down on that. It's like, well, they're just pretending they're wannabe cowboys. Yeah. It's like, well, not everybody was blessed enough to have been born into this lifestyle. And if you're going to be a wannabe something, I can think of a whole lot worse things to want to be than a cowboy.
That's quite the life. I love the lifestyle myself. Kind of miss that. I can't wait to get down there and visit you there. Listen to your music out by the campfire.
and say, well, just let me know anytime you want to come, and I'll make sure we feed you good steak dinner and give you, some old campfire songs to get indigestion by.
I like it. Do you have what's your schedule for the next month or two? You got things going on besides singing there at the
Say,
guest
oh,
ranch?
absolutely, absolutely. Say that, that's my steady gig, but I'm always off somewhere doing something. Like tomorrow, I'll be down singing at the Cowboy Church in St. David.
All right.
Say,
Good.
and just about every Sunday, I'm singing in church somewhere.
It's good old cowboy churches. Are they outside down there in Tucson?
Say, it varies. Say the St. David Cowboy Church. We now actually have a building for better part of 15 years. It was held in Robertson's Sale Barn in Benson, which
Uh-huh.
is just down the road from St. David. But we actually have a building now.
Well,
And,
that's good.
I'm kind of tickled. One of the things I'm taking down there tomorrow is I picked it up off Marketplace. It's a custom uh, table topper and surround that fits over an 8-foot banquet table and turns it into a covered wagon.
Oh
So
my gosh, I'd like to see that.
I'll send you some pictures. And now when we do our monthly food drives, instead of just coming and getting the box off the table, you can being a cowboy church, you can come get your victuals at the chuck wagon.
There you go.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Do you have any authentic Western songs, or do you sing the old favorites, or?
Say
Yep.
all of the above. I
Oh.
sing songs from both the trail drive era as well as the silver screen. So I say it's the REAL and REEL West.
Great, I like that.
We got a new friend who's a singer and a comedian,
And a yodeler. We haven't
and a
heard a yodel
yodeler.
yet.
And we all
There you go. Beautiful. What a way to end the show, Russ.
wow, we caught that on tape. Okay. Well, this is exciting. Buck, we're gonna ask you back and we're gonna meet you. We'll set up an interview and come down.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Buck.
Bye-bye.
You're great. Take care of yourself.
You too.